Hey, good evening, everyone. Live here on LSR TV, it is the Lucky Finn Project 200, the Race X Next Generation Series, live at Darlington Raceway. The Lady in Black, the track was too tough to tame. Those are two of the names. That's the polite ones, anyway. The drivers and fans have given Darlington Raceway over the years. It's the oldest speedway on the NASCAR circuit. Darlington Raceway's egg-shaped configuration. It's definitely different. One end is big and wide open, while the other one's pinched really, really tight. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing, Lucky Finn Project, Mission 22 by Blackhawk Motorsports, Hill Designs, LSR TV, iRacing, and Darlington Raceway. Chris Nunn here with you, along with Chris Lawrence, and on pit road, it's Wesley Outland. Guys, good evening to you. Chris Lawrence, good to have you with us in the booth.
Yes, Chris, how you doing? It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to a great race.
And we got Wesley Outland down on pit road. Wesley, always good to have you with us tonight.
Good evening to everybody in LSR TV land. We're at virtual Darlington Raceway. The Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. It should be an exciting race. Pit stop should also be interesting from time to time. We'll cover it here this evening.
All right, qualifying is set to go on the racetrack. It's going to be the best of 2 laps on the clock. And we currently have out right now it's Steve Baker, number 55 machine. Steve Baker currently sitting second in the point standings by just 6 behind Katie Osmond. Dale Osmond in the points lead. And Chris, I don't know if you were able to catch some of the race last week, but Martinsville, a caution fest. I believe we had 22 cautions last week at Martinsville. I'm hoping it's not going to be a repeat, but Chris, you've seen a little bit of Darlington. What do you expect tonight?
Well, Chris Nunn, I'm glad you told me asked me that. I'm looking at looks like a lot of cars are possibly going to be fighting a loose in or loose off, depending on how hard they're going to push these cars and the tires. So it looks like that might be a possible problem as the night goes on.
Yeah, Wesley Outland, our pit reporter, he was with us last week at Martinsville during the Caution Fest. Hoping for something different. What are you seeing as far as strategy on pit road for today?
Well, the thing is this, we had a wild race at Martinsville for last week for 20-plus caution flags. This is Darlington. Obviously, it's a lot bigger. It's over a mile compared to the half-mile paperclip at Martinsville. But the Lady at Black at Darlington is always a tricky racetrack. The way they enter into the banking, going into the curves around that egg-shaped oval should make things very, very interesting. We could possibly see another caution flag fiesta, or we can see good green flag runs. We'll find out here tonight with coverage of the GNX Racing Series.
Yeah, we are definitely hoping for a green flag throughout the day. Tyler Hilton currently on the pole right now, 27.78 the time. Eric Blount in second, 27.93. John Wimpish currently sits in the third spot. Steve Baker now goes to second at a 27.81. And once again, 2 laps on the clock for qualifying. They got 5 minutes to do so before we grid them up. Eric Blount, John Wimbish, and Matthew McMeekin currently sitting in the 5th spot on the grid in time trials. So we're going to let them qualify for a little bit. Chris Lawrence, qualifying always the key. Got to get up front, but these 147 lappers are a long race. If you're in the cockpit, where do you want to start? Up front, middle, or in the back and bide your time?
Well, I've always kind of liked to kind of ride it out as the track goes along. You know, let the tires and let the track build up on with the rubber. I kind of like to sit and ride, let some stuff happen, and then probably try to save my stuff for the end. But that's my strategy. A lot of people have different strategies throughout the night, so we'll see what they choose to do as the night goes on.
All right, cars still on the clock for qualifying. Tom Quattlebaum Jr. goes to the the 4th spot. Now moves up to 3rd with a lap of 27.83. That knocks Wimbish down to the 4th spot. Eric Blount down to 6th. Currently only 9 cars have taken time right now as clock is ticking down in qualifying. Wesley down there on pit road. Only 9 cars on the clock right now. Do you think everybody's just waiting to the end to try to go out and burn a lap?
Well, we've seen in several broadcasts for this series where some will play possum and they'll wait for that final 3-minute window, and then a lot of other drivers will just not qualify at all, and they'll just take whatever starting positions that they can get right now. So, again, time is running out, and it's clearly showing that, you know, they got to make these laps very, very quickly. And another thing that we have not talked about here, guys, it's daytime, but it's almost nightfall here. This looks like we're going to be seeing a night race race here tonight at Darlington Raceway, which is going to also make things very, very interesting because we're going to go for that transition from the daytime to nightfall to dark. And it's going to really change the handling on these race cars, and that's another thing I'll be watching on Pit Road Night too.
All right, last week, Martinsville Speedway, the night race at Martinsville. It was Katie Osmond, Dale Osmond picking up the win. He led 71 laps, but he led the one that mattered as we went into overtime last week. It was Roy Hyde finishing second, Steve Baker third, Chris Mefford fourth, and Dustin Ping fifth. Travis Smith led most of the race last week, 75 laps. He led the most laps, but ultimately finished 10th after being involved in the late race skirmish. So unfortunately for him, he was finishing in that 10th position. We're going to be back with more of the Race X Next Generation Series live at the Darlington Speedway right here on LSR TV, live from Darlington Raceway.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, T-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West.
All right, we're back here on LSR TV. It's the Race X Next Generation Series here at Darlington Raceway. And we are already under caution here early as Brian Miskell Jr., Chris Canfield already a lap down. And we are already starting off the race in an auspicious way. We mentioned earlier that it could be a caution fest, or we could have a a long green flag run. We are starting off under caution, Chris, and that's not a good thing.
No, it's not, Chris. Looks like, they just got a little bound up in turn one, maybe got a little loose. Round they win.
Currently, Brian Littleton sits at the point. Your current points leader, Dale Osmond, not here this evening. So that's going to shake up the point standings a little bit, as Baker is here tonight, as is Wimbish. And Travis Smith also in the house tonight, and Roy Hyde as well. So that's going to directly change the point standings big time as we go after tonight's race here at Darlington Raceway. And auspicious by his absence, man. I'm telling you, the points leader, Dale Osmond, he's made them all so far, but not here tonight. That's unusual. So we're under caution still, and going to bring Wesley Outland, our pit reporter, in for the broadcast here. Caution in the very first lap. I don't think it's going to change anybody's pit strategies, do you?
Yeah, a couple of cars on pit road just a moment ago. Mefford in the 84. Britt's on pit lane right now in the 05, and so is McMeekin. A couple of cars in the back of the top 20 starting positions coming in for service. Mefford's on the pit exit right now, but again, as we're still under the yellow flag, very unusual that we have cars coming out of the pits that must have some handling problems on their machines, and that's why they're coming to the caution, or involved in the caution flag. Of course, Doug Wasaki behind the wall, one lap down. So, yeah, a little activity here in the opening laps at Darlington.
Kind of crazy to see a lot of pit activity here on lap number, or whatever, or lap, 4 here? I can't quite see what lap we're on, unfortunately.
Yeah, looks like we're on 4.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of an issue with my screen, so I apologize here for not being able to see what lap we are on currently, but we'll get it figured out. It's on my end, I guarantee you. Chris Lawrence, hitting early on this on lap 4. What do you think of this strategy?
Well, it can help a lot of cars that might need to try to make some quick adjustments, and that can also hurt a lot of guys. I was talking to the president of the lead earlier, Tyler Hilton, and he was telling me they only have 7 tires, pretty much 7 sets of tires. Besides the ones they start on, they have 6 others in the pits. So, and they don't have any fast repairs, so it should be really interesting to see who's able to keep their car clean and who's able to keep it off the wall.
So Wesley Outland, with this tire limitation and the quick repair situation, strategies. What is it? Do you pit less, or what do you do?
I think it's just what Chris Lawrence just reiterated on. I mean, you got to save your tires, you got to save your rubber until you got to use it, and then of course don't use it up in a hurry quickly. Another thing, gentlemen, that we haven't even talked about is last week was the Week 13 iRacing update, and there's a new damage profiles and everything on these cars. I mean, we saw some of it the other night, Chris, where we saw wrecking and crashing and parts flying off cars and sparks and smoke. Definitely you don't want to have that happen to you, but that is some of the cool new features that iRacing has done here in the virtual broadcast.
So what you're saying, we could see finally these debris cautions on a NASCAR iRacing game.
I never said that, but there's a possibility.
Let's cross our fingers and hope not. We are still working caution flag number 1 here at Darlington Raceway here on the very first lap of the race in this 200 lapper here at Darlington. It is the Lucky Finn Project 200. It's brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing. Lucky Finn Project, Mission 22 at Blackhawk Motorsports. Hilton Designs, LSR TV, iRacing, and Darlington Raceway. Chris Nunn along with Chris Lawrence. And on pit road, Wesley Outland. He'll be down there getting the ins and outs of all the drivers and their strategies. And if they're complaining or if they're happy, Wesley will tell us about it tonight. Hopefully we don't have anybody that's going to be too upset here at Darlington. But it is a track too tough to tame. And tempers will flare. And it's going to it'll get interesting before this race is over with. Doubling them up. Chris Lawrence, Tyler Hilton, your leader. You said Tyler, league president. He's a pretty good driver, and he's showing that right now up front.
Yeah, I would have to agree. He said that he was going to kind of stiff it in this race here and see what some of these guys are really talking about. They've been having a hard time with some of the cars, and he's like, I'm going to get in there and get my hands dirty. So he's up behind that wheel, and he's looking pretty dang good early in this race. And you saw Roy Hyde get the wave around here as he goes back around to the tail end.
Roy Hyde currently sitting at 5th in the point standings. Only 29 points separate the top 5. And we're going to have a new points leader when it's all said and done. Dale Osmond, Steve Baker, John Wimbish, Travis Smith, and Roy Hyde currently your top 5 in points here in the RaceX Next Gen Series as we get set to go back to green flag racing here at Darlington Raceway. It's going to be Tyler Hilton, Steve Baker leading him down to the green. And we are back underway, hopefully here for a long green flag run. It's going to be Tyler Hilton taking him into turn number 1. Steve Baker into that second spot. Wimbish going to fall back, and here we go. We got Cade Green, Brian Snare off the pace here in turn number 1 and 2. He had problems last week as well at Martinsville, but he is not starting us off. He's not starting this race off too well, Chris.
No, he's not. But we'll see as the race prolongs, and maybe he'll be able to get a wrangle on that race car and keep it off the wall.
Yeah, Brian had a rough go with it last week. It was a roller coaster race for him. He was up front, then fell back with some accidents. Ended up crawling back up to a 6th place finish. He started 26 and ended up finishing in the 6th spot. Did Brian Snare. Up front is still Tyler Hilton. He has got a good run to go, and he currently sits just a 1/10 of a second up on Steve Baker. As there it is right there, the battle for the lead as we head out. And Baker trying to look to the inside of Hilton. Wimbish right behind him as they roll. And here comes Baker now in for the lead. Good run for Baker. As he now takes the point. He has got a strong car. He has been all season long as we roll down the back straightaway, Chris. Baker, he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, he is. Looks like Tyler is going to try to get a run off of 2 here. But you got to watch out for that 56 as he just gets a good run as that car 82 gets a push off the outside going in the 1.
Wimbish trying to get around. He does. He takes that 2nd spot. Hilton now falls back to the 3rd spot as we roll down out of turn number 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. We are working lap number 10 at the moment. Steve Baker still out front. Lap 10 of we got a car. It is Cade Green. Cade Green in the wall as we stay green. So no caution flying. We're still green here at Darlington. So Cade Green's going to have to hop back on the saddle here and get back into it. 0.8 of a second the lead now between Baker and Wimbish as Hilton falls back to that 3rd spot. Dustin Ping up 3 spots to the 4th spot. Tom Quattlebaum Jr. rounding out the top 5. We take a look at Dustin Ping. He's moved up 3 spots. This race, it takes a lot of patience, Chris. You got to meticulously work your way up, and you got to make good moves.
Yeah, you do, Chris. It's kind of a weird configuration as we've been noting earlier. You can almost run wide open through 1 and 2, but then if you don't hit your marks on 3 and 4, it will bite you on the exit, and that's where you're going to lose all your speed going back into 1 and 2. So just a matter of how you can really hook these cars up. It's looking pretty good, though. They're looking pretty racy. A couple of spots back behind Dustin, though. They're really going 2-3 wide.
Baker opening up that lead, 0.9 of a second. Now a second back to Tyler Hilton into the 3rd spot. Steve Baker starting to open it up just a bit. Taking a look at Wimbish back there in that 2nd spot. And there is Hilton. Top 3 cars pulling away just a bit. 2 seconds back to 4th place. And Dustin Ping. The field's starting to get a little spread out. It's kind of a short field tonight. Just 22 cars signed in for tonight's racing action. 21 were able to make the starting field as we work lap number 14. Steve Baker. And he is just starting to open her up. Take a look at Dustin Ping back there in the 4th spot. Going to bring in Wesley Outland. Early on, Wes, everything's starting to spread out just a bit. Were you expecting this at the start?
Finally got that green flag cycle that everything's going on. Looking up and down pit road, the crews are nodding and happy with everything with the drivers' cars. A couple of behind the wall, 1 lap or more, Brett and Wasaki, but for the most part, we've got some racing action. Green flag run is the 47 of Radford. Looks like he got bounced off the wall. He's a little bit off the pace, but yeah, 14 laps in of 147 laps, 200 miles the distance here for this event at Darlington, and so far everybody's playing nice.
Always good to see everybody playing nice. Steve Baker still out front. John Wimbish back there in that second spot. Just 0.3 of a second separate those top two. There's Roy Hyde trying to work his way up through the field. Currently sitting in that 14th starting spot, or now he's 13th, excuse me. He's dropped 3 spots from his 10th place starting position. He's currently working lap number 15. Okay, everybody spread out just a tick. Roy Hyde now trying to catch up to that battle in front of him. Matthew McMeekin trying to get that 11th spot away from Cody Terry. He's going to do it. He'll slide up in front of Cody Terry, and he will take that 11th spot as we roll down the front straightaway. 17 laps working here at the Darlington Raceway here on LSR TV. It's the RaceX Next Gen Series. Ohio Indiana Roofing being the leading sponsor. Brian Littleton now trying to work up, trying to get around Chris Mefford. That's the battle for the 6th spot. So we got some side-by-side racing going on down here, down the front straightaway as they work into turn number 1. Now, Chris, stuff's starting to heat up now. We got some good battles brewing.
Yeah, I've been looking around the racetrack, and I've been noticing a couple battles. Looks like the leader is almost starting to get under pressure. Steve Baker is just now starting to get under pressure against John Wigglemish. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Sorry, John. But, you know, it looks like he's starting to really put pressure on that 56 right now, or the 55, I'm sorry.
Indeed, Steve Baker, he is going to have some company here just very, very shortly. Wimbish has that gap now down to 0.2 of a second as we are continuing on in this green flag run after an incident on the very, very start of the race. Wimbish now trying to poke his nose underneath Steve Baker for the point. Out of turn number 4 they come. Down the front straightaway, Baker going to pull out just a little bit away from Wimbish. Payne up to that 3rd spot. Hilton has fell back to 4th. Quattlebaum still runs in that 5th position, but he's going to have Littleton coming up on him here in just a bit. Last lap time for Steve Baker, 29.9. He was not the fastest car on the racetrack, however. 29.13 a lap for Littleton. He tearing up the racetrack right now is Littleton trying to catch up to that 5th place running car of Quattlebaum. Chris, it looks like Littleton's got a very strong car in clean air.
Yeah, he does. He's been doing pretty consistent the last couple laps. I've been kind of impressed. I've been really watching the 33 of Brian. He's been really consistent the last couple laps. Even though he's a lap down, he's been really the fastest car on the racetrack the last few laps.
Consistency key. There's Brian Snare. Taking a look back to Miskel. We'll take a look at our speed shots here out of Darlington Raceway. There's a lot of good camera angles for you here on LSR TV. We'll try to bring you all the good shots as we can bring them. There's Littleton still trying to catch up to Quattlebaum now as he's in that 5th position, and he is absolutely flying.
Looks like also Tyler Hiltz also dropped back in our spot, and he looks like he's in danger to fall back another spot as the 95 starts working on him.
All right, Wesley Outland down on pit road. What you got for us?
Cars on pit road for service right now includes Chris Canfield in 03. Radford's on pit road. Those drivers several laps down with damage on their cars from the earlier caution coming in just for service. More repairs also being done. Green Miskel Jr. right now from 15th to 20th on pit road for service, but still the top 15 out in front at Darlington.
All right, Steve Baker still out front. Dustin Ping into that 2nd spot. Wimbish has now fell back to the 3rd position. So a little bit of shaking up going on here in the top 3. It's Dustin Ping now trying. He is now up front. Dustin Ping to the lead. Baker kind of gave a shot to the shorts there, Chris. They almost got together.
Yeah, they did. 56 almost was like, all right, get racy, boys. But they both saved it. And they're both great drivers up there. And we'll see if the 55 can get them back around 3 and 4.
So Dustin Ping out front now, working lap number 24. Now Steve Baker's going to play catch up. We go on board with Steve Baker as he tries to catch up to your leader, Dustin Ping, as we flash across the start-finish line. You get a look and see how wide open one of the set of the turns are, and in the other turns, absolutely paperclip tight. You can see exactly how these drivers work the wheel. You see Steve Baker kind of working it back and forth. Chris, 2 separate ends of a racetrack. You got to work that car completely different on both ends.
Yeah, you do. So I've been watching now this 80 of Brian Littleton. He has really been putting up the heat recently, and he is catching the 56 mad fast. And the 95 this in tow. They're both gaining ground on the leaders.
Brian Littleton, a 30.2 last time around, as he is right now. He's my car to watch. Travis Smith also working his way up. He's moved up 7 spots. He was a front runner last week before he got caught up in an incident, and he was the car that Wesley Outland christened the Lightning McQueen car.
Yeah, I love that 95 car, Travis Smith. Ka-chow. There he is right there watching that beautiful machine as he makes his way here as nightfall sets in, guys. And we had that one caution at the beginning of the race, but now as we're working lap 27 of this race, I think within the next 25 laps or so, we're going to see pit stops start happening.
Yeah, things are definitely going to start to heat up on pit road here. It's just, just a handful of cars have went pit side. And Travis Smith kind of got shuffled down there under the front stretch. Kind of got shuffled down low, and I'm not quite sure what happened there, but he got the ship right, and now he's got his sights set on Wimbish. Steve Baker still trying to catch up to Dustin Ping, 0.3 of a second back. We've got action here on the front straightaway. Here a gaggle of Baker, Wimbish, Littleton, now Travis Smith. Chris, we're going to have a good one brewing here for second.
Yeah, we have action all around the racetrack. Even Tyler Hilton had pressure on the 4 car earlier, and now he has fallen back off him. Guess he's just trying to take it easy on those tires. But back up to you, up to the second and third spot.
Steve Baker trying to hold off down the back straightaway. John Wimbish in that 3rd spot. Littleton 4th, Travis Smith in the 5th position. Everybody running up top, single file. We roll out of turn number 3 and 4. We're going to be working lap number 30. Dustin Ping's been the leader. It's Steve Baker 2nd. Wimbish, Littleton, the car to watch right now. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Currently just trying to set up Wimbish to get around him for that 3rd spot. Chris Lawrence, kind of a cat and mouse game going on here between those guys.
It looks like it. And the 95 is looking like he's just kind of right behind that 80 car right now. Forgive me about the name. I'm not really familiar with these guys just yet. But it looks like that 56 is just not putting the pressure on like he needs to be. And it looks like Brian Littleton's going right below him right now.
The Littleton taking that 3rd spot away from Wimbish. Smith almost got into the back of Wimbish as well. And now Smith, he's going to have Quantabon behind him. McMeek and Hilton, Terry and Blount, your top 10. Hilton falling backwards right now, currently 4 seconds off the pace. Tough start for Tyler Hilton. We thought he was going to be, he was looking good up front earlier on, Chris, but I don't know, something's going on with his car, maybe.
Yeah, Chris, I've been watching him. Looks like he's been slowly falling back. I don't know if he's already used up that set of rubber, or maybe he's now playing the mind games and going, okay, I can't be up there now. We're going to save the car to later. That might be what it is. As the 95 of Tyler Smith, it just hit the wall earlier, just now got around the 56. But he has a little bit of rear end damage. So I don't know how that will affect him as the race goes on.
Some tire issues possibly on that Tyler Hilton machine. Looking a little squirrely coming through one set of the turns there. And, tires important here at Darlington. Said you got one set of turns completely wide open. The other one's paper clip tight. It's like running 2 different racetracks. It's working lap number 33. Dustin Ping still out front. Steve Baker, Littleton, Baker now on the tail end of Dustin Ping as we roll out of turn number 3 and 4. Top 3 in a line down the front straightaway. See if Baker makes a move here. He'll look to the inside and he'll take the lead away from Dustin Ping. Chris, good move there.
Very good move, but it also can be very risky going too wide going into this turn because it's really tight up there. But he did a really good job holding on to it, and Dustin gave him plenty of room. They're being friendly now, but later on, gloves will come off.
Gloves definitely going to come off here in just a bit. As Wesley Outland stated, we're going to be having pit stops coming up here in just a little bit. Wesley, how long do you think they can stretch these tires and gas?
Well, like I said, as long as we stay into this green flag run, I'm expecting probably around lap 50 or so, they're going to come to the pits and take on new tires and, of course, take on fuel as well. But if we get a caution flag, they're going to pit early. But I got a feeling right around lap 50, 55, we're going to see green flag pit stops.
All right, currently working lap number 35 here. Steve Baker still out front. Top four running nose to tail down the front straightaway. Baker, Ping, Littleton, and Smith right there. As take a look at the gaps, not that big. It is 0.3 of a second, 0.5 of a second. Back there, second and third. Travis Smith right back there in fourth, waiting to pounce. Wimbish rounding out the top five, and Meek and Quattlebaum, Hilton, Terry, and Snare currently rounding out the top 10. Roy Hyde back there in 12th. He was one of the guys I was watching earlier, sitting fifth in the points standings. Having a tough go of it right now, currently 11 seconds off the pace, coming off of that runner-up finish last week at Martinsville in that crash-plagued event. So one caution right now here at the Darlington Raceway. That was at the very start. We have been clean and green ever since. Steve Baker still out front. King second, Littleton, Smith, and Wimbish. Chris Lawrence, these top four still running single file. Who's going to make the move first, do you think?
Well, as we just saw, Brian Littleton just get a checkup. Looks like he's going to have a decent run going in the one here, but he might check up and let it go. But since I've been watching the last couple laps, Chris, the 55's been doing really great, but he has had a few sparks coming off before. Other than that, he's been really great, but he's losing ground on 3 and 4 to Dustin. But other than that, they've been doing really good. Dustin's been gaining in 1 and 2, but now they have a gap because they got racing 3 and 4. So other than that, it looks like they're going to be all right. It looks like Brian Littleton's going to get a move here on the front stretch as he goes underneath Dustin going in the 1.
And Brian Littleton now moves to the runner-up spot. Gets around Dustin Ping. He'll take second. Now he'll set his sights on the leader, Steve Baker, Littleton. And he's had the fastest car of the race this entire evening. Moving up 11 spots to the second spot. Dustin Ping now drops back to the fourth position as Travis Smith gets around him. Ping's tires maybe go out. Wesley Outland, Dustin made that run towards the front, as now we got a battle for the lead as Steve Baker now drops to second. Littleton takes the lead. But Wes, as I was going to say, Ping made that run up to the front. Do you think that kind of scrubbed off his tires a bit?
Yeah, I think he might have flat spotted it maybe just a little bit there. But again, given this car all that they can right now is what I was trying to say is they roar down off the banks here at Darlington, heading back down the front straightaway, working now lap number 48. Closing in, or 41 laps of 147, closing in on again around that 50-55 mark is when I'm thinking they're going to come to pit road. Littleton looks really, really strong. Baker strong as well. And my buddy Lightning McQueen, Mr. Smith, has got a good run in the 95 as he makes a run for second as they go to 3.
Yeah, Smith trying to look underneath Baker for that runner-up spot as they run side by side out of turn number 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. Still a drag race down to the stripe. Steve Baker still holds that lead. See if Smith will tuck back in. Yes, he does here in turn number 1 and 2. It's allowing Littleton. Man, Littleton took the lead, Chris, and he has already opened up a 1.2 second lead. He is out of there.
Yeah, he has. It looks like that 95 is going to get a good run down the front stretch and probably take him, which he does going into 1 and 2. Also, I'd like to throw it to Wes as Josh Codwell is now on pit road.
Godwell is on pit road out of the attention of his crew as we're starting to see again that sequence of green flag pit stops, but of course he's mired all the way in the back. Josh Cottle there in the car number 9 as we continue to watch this battle continuing down the back straightaway for second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, Steve Baker in that third spot, Dustin Ping fourth. Now Matthew McMeekin sitting into that fifth spot. McMeekin hasn't moved up much. He's only moved up 1 spot, started 6th, now up to 5th. But the two movers right now, Littleton and Smith, they have moved up 12 spots and 10 spots respectively. Dustin Ping trying to look to the inside of Steve Baker to take that third spot. He's going to have to tuck back in as we remain clean and green here. Working lap number 44. And Wesley Outland, more action on pit lane.
Yeah, more pit stops are going on. Tom Quattlebaum Jr. just entered pit road, the 08 machine. But again, guys, we've got this great battle happening for position as now we see Quattlebaum now go to pit road. He's the only guy pitting, and guys, I figured between 45 to 55 we would see this sequence of green flag pit stops. They can go basically 50 plus laps on a set of tires and fuel. Remember that limit of how many tires they're allowed to have for this race, and of course right now we've only had one caution flag of this event as we work on under 100 laps to go, and nightfall is also settling in, Chris Dunn.
Nightfall definitely going to cool down the track temperatures just a bit. Track going to get faster and faster as the night goes on. Steve Baker still trying to hold off Dustin Ping and Matthew McMeekin back there for that third spot. They run currently nose to tail. It's Josh Cottle back into the pit area. Something may be wrong on his car. He is 4 laps down, trying to get that thing worked up. Damon Cox a lap down, Doug Wasaki a lap down, Quattlebaum now a lap down as well, as Damon Cox gets kind of rooted out of the way there as we roll here at Darlington. Chris Lawrence, a good battle here.
It's been a very good battle last couple laps, as I've seen Dustin put the boot to Steve a little bit, and now it's like Steve, his tires have possibly fallen off. I expect him coming to pit road him in the next lap or two, because he has looked really like he's had his hand full. But I'll tell you what, the guy I really had an eye on right now has been Matthew Mitkin. He has been in the catbird seat, just sitting here riding behind Dustin. Looks like he's about ready to pull that trigger.
All right, Wesley Outland's got an update from pit road.
Yeah, Josh Cottle, the 9 car, he is out. I just spoke to him a few moments ago. He just said, Wesley, my car is wicked loose. It's handling bad virtual style here at Darlington. Too tough to tame has beat me. I'm done. He bows out. He's done for the race.
All right, tough break for Josh Cottle. His fun meter has been pegged for the night. He has decided to call it quits. He'll grab a cold one and enjoy the rest of the race. As now, Matthew McMeekin looks underneath Dustin Ping for the 3rd spot. He'll take it and shove Dustin Ping now back to 4th as we roll out of turn number 3 and 4. Working lap number 49 there. As Wesley Outland mentioned, pit stops probably going to be coming up here very, very shortly. So, gonna see how that shakes out.
Oh no! Brian Littleton gets turned by a lap car of 84, coming out of 2.
Wow, Chris Mefford, I believe, got into your leader, and around he goes. Wow, what a crazy turn of events here. We'll take a look at our replay as, oh wow, he just hooked him there coming down the back straightaway. That's one of those iffy kind of deals right there. Chris Lawrence, what do you think here as we take a look at this other angle there? It looks like Mefford kind of bounced off the wall there.
You know, Brian had a really good run, and the 84 really knew he was on the way, and he couldn't get out of the way fast enough. I mean, Chris Mefford did all he could to hold it up, and he held it up a little too high, bounced off that safety barrier, and couldn't help but just kiss the back Brian. I mean, that's racing for you. Unfortunately, it's just what it is. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He had a really great car, but we'll see what happens as the race goes on.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with pit stops and more here from Darlington Raceway. You're watching the Lucky Finn Project 200, the Race X Next Gen Series. Actually, we'll go back after pit stops here as Wesley Outland. We have got wholesale pit stops.
Here they all come. They come marching onto pit road. Got to make sure that they do not go over their speed limits and get busted for a penalty, even virtual in reality. Smith is on pit road. McMeekin, Ping, Baker, Terry, Snare, Littleton, even when him leading and got involved in that wreck, he's coming in on pit road. Terry, Snare, Hilton, all these drivers coming in for pit stops in service. Watching them, they're going to go with the inside. They're going to go to the left side of the car. They're going to put on the right side tires first, put on them new Goodyear Radio Virtual Eagles. Then they go to the left side. Splash of that Sunoco racing fuel. Couple of drivers having some track bar and adjustments made. And look at Tyler Hilton coming back off the pit road. Everyone else exiting off the pit road as well. And the exit off of pit road looks like it will go to Matthew McMeekin. Struggled at Martinsville last weekend. The Virginia native comes on pit road, or exits pit road first. Other crews on service now includes Eric Blunt, Brian Littleton. We'll find out how much damage is on his 80 car when we come back in just a moment.
I'll be back with more coverage here from Darlington Raceway, the Lucky Finn Project 200. We'll get back in a moment.
ETE Reman, is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway, the Lucky Finn Project 200, the Race X Next Generation Series, brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing. Wesley Outland has got an update from down on pit road.
Yeah, we've actually got the driver, Matthew McMeekin, right now, the number 4, the native out of Virginia, doing really good. What a turnaround, Matthew, from your bad luck at Martinsville. You're leading right now in the early going at Darlington.
Yes, sir. Up there at the start of the race. Just spun out on Amazon. But back here, leading the race. I think I got a hot rod underneath me, and just hoping the rest of the race goes well.
Got a really, really strong car, Bud. What's it going to take to stay at the front? And obviously, Martinsville's a totally different deal from Darlington as we get ready for the restart.
Yes, sir. The key here is race the racetrack and stay out of the wall.
Avoid the wall, the track that is nicknamed Too Tough to Tame. The lady in black, Matthew McMeekin, right now leads the way as we get ready for a restart. Back to you, Chris Nunn.
All right, thanks a lot, Wesley Outland. Chris Nunn, along with Chris Lawrence, Wesley Outland, down on pit road here at Darlington Raceway. So we are working lap 53 of 147 here in this 200-miler. Eric Blunt on pit lane now, as he's going to drop down a little bit. So, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to make a pit stop here. He's going to drop out of the top 10. So, Chris Lawrence, your synopsis of the race so far, what you thinking?
It's been really good. I mean, 4 is looking pretty strong, but Milehigh's still on that 95 up there on the second place. He has a little rear damage, but he's been looking pretty consistent. But now these new tires, we'll see if any new front runner surface. Also, I also like to note out that Dustin Payne is now sitting on the infield on the turn 4 exit, or turn 2 exit, and I don't know, his night might be done.
Oh, wow, that is a definite situation that we're going to have to keep track of. Dustin Payne 3 laps down on pit lane after running in the top 5. Wesley Outland, what you got for us?
Blunt just radioed into me with his crew, and he says he's got a lot of damage on that number 6 car. He had no other choice but to come to the pits, and also Dustin Ping coming in for service as well as we get ready to come back for a restart at Darlington.
All right, restart coming up here. So we have 54 laps in the books coming up to complete lap number 55. Green flag is out. Back underway here at the Darlington Raceway. The track Too Tough to Tame. Lady in black. Matthew McMeekin currently leads Travis Smith into that second position. Cody Terry now works up into that 3rd spot. Keep an eye on Brian Littleton. He's going to be the car that I'm watching back there in the 7th position. He is going to be charging forward like his hair is on fire right now, and keep an eye on him. Chris Lawrence, when you get wiped out by a lap car like that, what's that do to your confidence in your psyche? Does it make you mad, or what's it do? There's got some contact up there.
Brian did sideways again. The 80. It feels like he saves it. They maintain green, but yeah, as you were saying, Chris, it depends on the driver. Some people can take it, some people can't. It might rage him a little bit, but he'll have to sit there, pull his belts tight, and just go, okay, look, it happened. It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to be there. We just got to drive. Clear the head, hit the reset button, and keep it between off the wall. I mean, all you can do, Chris.
I had an incident between Baker and Snare there. They got some contact. Baker holds that 4th spot. Snare back up to 5th. Looks like Dustin Ping is back out onto the racetrack now, albeit 5 laps in arrears. So, and a tough break for him. He was running up there in the top 5. Only 12 cars on the lead lap. Brian Littleton, leader earlier on in the race, currently sitting that last car on the lead lap. So he's going to have a ways to go before he can get back to out front, as we currently take a look at Littleton. Just running his race back there. Maybe he's hoping for another caution or something maybe wrong with that car after getting contact with Mefford, who is that car right in front of him. Wesley Outland was making his rounds on pit road just then. Wesley, what you got for us?
Yeah, I just talked with Dustin Ping and the crew there. Tough break there for Ping. He accidentally shut off his virtual steering wheel and lost all power. That is why it took so long to reset, get back going again. He's 5 laps down.
Wow, the virtual equivalent of your steering wheel falling right off in your hand, Wesley. That's not good. We currently work here. Taking a look at Matthew McMeekin sitting in that 2nd spot right now, working lap number 51. Or excuse me, lap number 59. I can't read my own screen at the moment, so it's all good. Travis Smith, Matthew McMeekin, Cody Terry, Wimbush, Steve Baker, your top 5. Chris, cars starting to spread out a little bit. Seems like that's the norm after the restarts. You kind of spread out a little bit.
I would agree with you, Chris. I've been having my eye back here on this battle from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th spot. Just got all racing the last couple of laps. Steve Baker looks like he's starting to separate just a little bit from Brian Snare. But, Tyler Hilton looks like he's starting to come back in. But the guy on the move I've been watching the last couple of laps has been Roy. Roy has really bounced back from the last couple of laps from early on.
Wesley Outland, down to you.
Hey, Brian Snare, what a run for this guy right now. The 43 car, he's right now in the top 5. Chris, me and you called the race at Martinsville last weekend, or last Thursday night. What a wreck fest it was. And he was one of the cars that struggled the entire time. But that number 43 car, Mr. Brian Snare, looking really, really good, hitting his marks as he makes his way around the Lady in Black.
Definitely. He's had a roller coaster last couple of weeks, has Brian Snare, involved in a couple accidents at Martinsville last week. Ended up crawling back and getting a 6th place finish. Currently, right now, he currently sits in that 5th position, up 15 positions. Another driver on the move, Cody Terry. He is up 16 spots. He runs 3rd, trying to make his way up and catch up to the 2nd place running car, Matthew McMeekin. Got a new leader, Travis Smith. Travis Smith led the most laps last week at Martinsville, led 79 of the 204 official laps. At Martinsville, as Lightning McQueen has found himself towards the front of the field yet again. Chris Lawrence, sometimes, the cream rises to the top. You get to see who's got the best cars right now. Travis Smith, he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, he is. He's been pretty consistent the last couple runs. Right now, he looks like he has it pretty much in his hands. I mean, looks like the car is really coming up the lap traffic on the 47, but that rear end damage, will that affect him later on in the race? Can it get worse? We'll find out.
I don't know. That's crumpled up a rear end there on Travis Smith's car. Mentioned new damage model. It's a lot of new stuff we could look at on these race cars. Parts and pieces flopping around, pieces flying off on wrecks. As like I said, hopefully it doesn't bring out debris cautions. That's the last thing I want to see in my iRacing is debris cautions, because I don't like seeing them in real life. McMeekin, though, he is catching your leader fast, Chris. He has caught up to him in a hurry.
Yeah, he has, Chris. It looks like he's going to try to get a good run down the back stretch here. Going into 1, you got to go underneath him. Nope, doesn't have enough. Looks like he's going to keep going in the 1 and 2 and see if he can get a good run.
Still trying to get that run on Travis Smith for the lead is Matthew McMeekin, currently sitting 0.2 of a second back as they roll down the back straightaway. Here turns number 3 and 4. It's again two totally separate ends of the racetrack, an egg-shaped Darlington Raceway. Track too tough to tame. Lady in Black. Haven't seen very many Darlington stripes tonight, and that's unusual for Darlington. As we're going to send it down to Wesley Outland. What you got, Wes?
Hey, how about a good run also going for John Wimbush? He's right now in the 4th position in car number 56. It's Cheerwine time. Went to the store before tonight's broadcast, Chris, and bought me a new 12-pack of Cheerwine from being in the South. Also got some Sundrop to boot, even though our buddy's not with us that won last week in the Sundrop car. But with that being said, how about Wimbush? Got turned by lap cars battling for position at Martinsville last weekend, sitting comfortably, got a good run going for him right now. And that number 56 Cheerwine entry, staying out of trouble. Only about 3 seconds behind, doing what he really needs to do to get something done here for the next half of the races. By the way, we just passed halfway, and we're coming in on lap number 70, and I would say in probably another 30 laps or so, if we do not have another caution, we will have another segment of green flag pit stop. So Wimbush good in that 56 car.
You know, they don't sell that stuff up here, Wesley. I can't enjoy it.
I love my Cheerwine. I love my Cheerwine, and I love my Sundrop. So, yes, I have to mail you some.
And speaking of Brian Snare, Wesley, he is on pit road.
Yeah, Brian Snare is on pit road to the attention of his crew with the car number 43. This is an unscheduled pit stop. There's a lot of smoke bellowing from the front end of the number 43 entry of Brian Snare, and you guys are about to see a replay of why he's on pit road for service right now.
And we just took a header on into the wall, and we stayed green. Meanwhile, up front, Travis Smith is giving up the lead to Matthew McMeekin. We've got a brand new leader again. Well, not a brand new one, but McMeekin is back up front again. So him and Smith kind of trading back and forth. Man, what a tough break. We were just talking about Brian Snare, Chris. He was having a good run, but man, I think we might have given the announcers jinx.
Sometimes that's how it goes, Chris. I mean, the car looked really great. Who knows? I don't know what happened as we keep on watching. I watched how the 95 gave way to the 4. It looks like he kind of pulled down, let the 4 go. Don't know if he's playing a little strategy now and is trying to save some tires, is what he's doing. But now he's just sitting there. Looks like he's riding behind Matthew in the 4.
Trying to settle in to get a line to get around your leader, Matthew McMeekin. 0.3 of a second is the gap between first and second. Then we're back to a 1.8. Now 2-second differential between first and third, Cody Terry. It's everybody running single file, and Brian Snare still on pit road. Ray Radford still on pit road as well. He might, his race is essentially over. He is 16 laps down here at Darlington's. Working lap 73 of 147. 200 miler in the Lucky Finn Project 200. Brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing. Lucky Finn Project. Mission 22 by Blackhawk Motorsports. Hill Designs, OSR TV, iRacing, Darlington Raceway. Here at the Race X Next Gen Series event here at Darlington Raceway. Everybody running single file. Not much going on except for the battle up front, Chris. It seems like everybody's just settled in right now.
Yeah, it has. I've been watching Steve Baker, and he was really good up early on, and now his car looks like it's falling off a little bit. Might be getting a little tight. Not sure. We'll have to ask Wesley about that when he's down there. Maybe he can go and ask the crew guys. Right now, that Roy in the 00, though, looking really healthy up, as he's now in the 5th spot, possibly going to march into the 4th spot as he's making some decent ground. Chris?
Roy Hyde sitting there in the 5th spot, back up into a top 5, so a good run from him. Consistency is key in the point standings. He's moved up 3 spots from last week. He sits 5th, only 29 points behind your point leader, Dale Osmond, who is not here tonight. Wesley Outland back on with us. What you got?
Hey, Steve Baker not happy with that 55 car, tied in loose off the center. And why? He got tangled in with some lap traffic, bounced off the wall, and that car has struggled since then. He says, I'm on a cliff, and I am ironically going downhill. A tough break for the 55 car.
Tough break for Steve Baker indeed. Currently sitting 2nd in the point standings behind Dale Osmond, 6 points in arrears. as Steve Baker trying to hold off Roy Hyde. That is the battle for position for the 6th spot. So Hyde got a run there. And, Baker started to pull away. Chris Lawrence, what you got?
Well, Chris, I was watching Roy Hyde. He was going around the track. It looks like he got a little tight coming off and pushed just a little bit, and 55 was able to capitalize. And he just had to kind of just go low and give way to the 55. Possibly, maybe burned up a little bit of rubber on the 0. We'll see how he bounces back. And Brian Littleton starting to look like to make a small march back on Roy.
Yeah, Brian Littleton got put behind the 8 ball there after getting collected by Chris Medford earlier on while leading. Medford cuffed the wall, ended up going down and hooking Littleton and taking him around while he was leading. So he's running probably a little hot right now, and I'm not talking about car-wise. He's probably a little hot under the collar. Chris, don't you think?
Yeah. You know, that's understandable because he had a really good, solid car, but he has to understand this race still has a while to go. And, you know, it looks like Roy's going to give way. He's going to be able to make the way up to Steve Brown, possibly. Let's throw it to Wes and see what he got on the pit road.
Hey, we got Brian Snare with us. Brian, a tough break here for you. We were all talking good things about you, that 43 car. What happened?
Yeah,
It looked like before you had that mistake on your own that your car looked really, really strong tonight.
thank you. It sure did. The Victory Junction, or actually it's SPP Chevrolet did. Yeah.
Brian Snare behind the wall, guys, but his race is about to be done. Tough break for the 43.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was Brian Snare with Wesley Outland. Matthew McMeekin currently still out front. 1.2 seconds up on Travis Smith. Cody Terry probably sitting back in that 3rd spot. John Wimbish in 4th. 10 seconds back to Steve Baker. Chris Lawrence, this is a torrid pace being set by your leaders right now.
I think they're possibly now playing a little bit of game. He might be saving some stuff. He might be playing a fuel game now. We'll have to see as the race breaks out. As we're starting to get into lap traffic. But would you be a little bit afraid now to possibly put any pressure on these lap traffic guys, knowing what happened to Brian Littleton earlier, though?
Yeah, you'd got to think so. You saw what happened earlier to Littleton. Lap traffic will eat you alive if something happens up there with them. Like I said, we're getting ready to catch up on some lap traffic here in just a little bit, as Matthew McMeekin currently sits 1.8 seconds ahead of Travis Smith, working lap number 83. Coming up on lap traffic, Wesley, I believe your microphone is stuck open there, brother. There we go. I know I can hear something in the background.
Apologies. I was actually trying to come in and say something, guys. My apologies. I was actually just going to say that I've actually been continuously also keeping up with what Roy Hyde's doing. Roy Hyde of the 00 car, you know, he had a really, really strong run last week as well in the Next Gen Challenge event at Martinsville. He's doing comfortable right now, guys, in the 7th position. I know he's 12 seconds back in that 00 car, but again, we still have almost 50-plus laps left to go here. Still a lot of racing, actually more than that, 50, 60 laps to go here. Still a lot of racing left to go before anybody starts to make a move or do anything crazy to make a run for the front.
And Wesley, you know better than anybody, Darlington, anything can happen at any time.
Oh, for sure, man. The lady in black, I mean, look what happened to Snare. The Blackhawk 43 said, man, I had a great car. I love my car. I hit the wall on my own. It's my own fault, and that's what took me out. Chris Canfield said the same thing. So did also Wasaki when I spoke to those drivers and their crew members up and down pit road virtually here at Darlington. So again, Darlington is one of those tracks where you can succeed and be on top of the mountain or the top of the cliff, as Baker said. You're in the wall. The next thing you know, everything's over from there. As we just saw that car bounce off the wall of Hyde in the 00 car, but he still keeps going. But you got to wonder how much damage the Michigan native has on that car now.
Yeah, Chris Lawrence, we were just talking about Roy Hyde and how good of a run he's going, and Darlington just reached up and grabbed it.
It happens to the best drivers. He might have pushed a little too hard, or he pushed up the racetrack, or maybe he got freed up. depends on how the car was. These tires are starting to fall off as they're now about a second to 2 seconds off pace. So we'll see how much longer they want to try to really have their hands full here.
And we take a look at your second place runner right now, Travis Smith, 3 seconds back from Matthew McMeekin, currently working 87 laps at the moment. And pit stops will be the name of the game here, coming up here in just a bit. Hopefully we will be able to stay clean and green until we get back to pit stops. And then after that, it's all going to shuffle out. 11 cars still remain on the lead lap. Damon Cox going to be the next car to go a lap down here in just a few, it looks like, as there you see Damon Cox, and we'll take a look how far back Matthew McMeekin is to him. McMeekin is catching up to him in a hurry. There's the gap right there. He's going to be eaten alive here very, very shortly at the pace that McMeekin is pulling on. Working lap number 89, coming to lap 90 here at Darlington Raceway, and it's 147 lap for the Lucky Finn Project, 200 miles here at the Darlington Raceway. Nighttime falling upon us as there goes Mefford into the pit area, it looks like. So we're going to be seeing maybe some pit stops rolling on. He's 2 laps down, but nonetheless, he's in pit road, Wesley.
Yeah, here comes Mefford's machine right now in P13 in the 84 car coming in for service. 2 laps down. Remember, Wasaki was 2 laps down, got that free pass, and he is the free pass car if we get another caution. And again, just with Mefford coming to the pits, I still think around 90-95 laps we're going to see the second round of pit stops underway.
Yeah, Chris Lawrence just a few laps away from pit stops here. A handful of laps away. Do you think anybody's going to try to stay out or stretch it just a bit longer than they need to? Or do you think everybody's going to come in at once?
It's hard to say. All right, Wesley, go ahead,
Yeah,
Wesley.
I'm sorry. I thought you threw it to me. My apologies. I'm sorry, Chris, but I was going to say, I'm thinking if McMeekin, Smith, Terry, Wimbush, the guys in the top 5, they might try to push it maybe to lap 100, 105, but they can't push it any further than that. They've got to take on new tires and fuel.
All right, Wesley Allen down in the pit area, as you heard from Wesley and Chris Lawrence on everybody's pit strategy. Travis Smith currently still in the second spot, 47. Ray Radford, a lap car, trying to make his way up. He's 21 laps down, but still out there giving it the old college try.
And I would like to know, Chris, sorry to interrupt you, but that is the only Toyota in the field, if you have not noticed.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Last week we had one Toyota, and this week we had one Toyota. And Wesley made a good point last week. The Toyotas, man, they seem to be, I don't know, going by the wayside here on iRacing. And I don't know. It's one of those deals. Everybody wants to run Chevys, Fords, but Toyota's only one in the field tonight, as was last week at Martinsville. So the Toyota in the field, Ray Radford, currently sitting 21 laps down. McMeekin has got company, Travis Smith. Oh, never mind. My gap was, I was looking at the wrong thing. Excuse me. There's Travis Smith right there. 5 seconds back from your leader, Matthew McMeekin. As we still, nobody's dove into pit lane just yet. We're going to see who's going to be the first taker or 2. McMeekin, Smith, Terry, Wimbush, and Littleton, your top 5. Now, Chris, I keep waiting for Littleton to make a run to the front, but that accident, do you think it messed up his car more than we thought?
Well, since it was just rear-end damage, I think a lot of it's doing pretty decent. I've been keeping an eye on Brian Littleton. It's pretty consistent. Compared to the Matthew Meekin and the 95 of Travis Smith, he's consistently been the fastest runner almost the last 10 laps. So I think it will be pretty racy if he gets a late caution. He might be another car to keep an eye on. Might pull one off, even though he got into a little trouble early on.
All right, working lap number 95 here at the Darlington Raceway. And, man, what a run right now for your leader, Matthew McMeekin. He is absolutely putting it on the field right now. 5 seconds back to Travis Smith. He's had a good car all night long, but as we said, Pit stop's going to be happening. We've got a car on pit lane, 2 laps down. Doug Wysocki West, wholesale changes on his car. I think we've lost Wes. Caution out on the speedway. Tom Quattlebaum Jr. on the back straightaway and parks it into the wall and slows to a stop here on the lap number 97 here at the Darlington Raceway. So Tom Quattlebaum Jr. bringing out the caution flag as now I believe we are going to see pit stops galore here. And Wesley Outland, are you back with us?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a plethora of activity on pit road, and I would even be hard-pressed to say, gentlemen, we might call this the money stop unless we get a late race caution flag. It's about to become very, very interesting here in the pits at Darlington.
All right, going to see exactly who dives in and who stays out. I don't think I'm going to see very many anybody staying out. Chris Lawrence, think everybody's going to pit this time?
Well, I wouldn't see a reason not to as the 4 starts to dive in with the 95 behind them. My question for West is how well did they really put that nice aero tape on the back of Littleton's car? Because so far that thing looks pretty good even without a back end, and they were able to get some nice hammers and stuff. How do you think that's really going to constrict him with no front end damage, but it's all in the back? Do you think he'll be able to battle up there also with the 95?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out real quickly and check in with the crew on not only McMeekin in 4, but also Littleton in the 80 car. What a comeback for him to work his way back through the pack, but pit stops are open. Pit road is open as drivers coming to the attention of their crews. You have 95, Travis Smith already in his pit stall. McMeekin's in, Wimbush is in. Also is Baker, Steve Baker. Keep an eye on him. Even though he's had those problems on the 55 LSR TV car, he is still in the top 5 on the racetrack. Also, we watch Hyde come in, Hilton's coming in, Littleton, Terry, everybody coming in for service as they now make pit exit. McMeekin comes in first, comes out first in the number 4 car. We'll grab a word with McMeekin here in just a moment.
All right, we'll be back with more coverage here of the Lucky Finn Project 200 from Darlington Raceway here on LSR TV. Be back in a moment.
They say everything is bigger. These guys down in Texas aren't messing around. This feature race will separate the boys from the men, the girls from the ladies. Can you handle racing 300 laps for $25,000? It's not as easy as you think. We don't stop to tow those too weak. We just push them out of the way. We don't run 20 laps. We run 300 each night. We don't care about what you and your boys have under the hood. Bring all you got. Don't be scared. Call my Cowboy Jack today to get signed up. It all goes down on October 2nd and 3rd in Mesquite, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Kenny Wallace is coming back this year to try again. You don't have excuses. Go to LoneStar600.com now.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. Chris Nunn along with Chris Lawrence, Wesley Outland on pit road. It's the Lucky Finn Project 200, the Race X Next Gen Series. Wesley Outland, what you got for us?
We got Brian Littleton right now on in-car in the number 80 car. Brian, what a comeback for you. Problems on the back straightaway. Got a little damaged after some contact with another car, but you have worked and hustled your way back into the top 5. How's the car right now in the late rally?
You know, I feel like we're still got a pretty decent little hot rod here. I seem to be able to keep pace with most of these guys, so it seems like the damage at this point is superficial. Hopefully we can keep it together and give them a run for their money towards the end of this race. We get a good green flag run here.
Got a really, really strong machine. Question verbatim, what do you think of the new Week 13 damage updates that they've done for iRacing?
I think they were flawed last week. I think we were having issues with them. I know I did personally. This is the first I've been on this week, so I don't even know what's going on with them, to be honest with you, past Week 13.
Well, you don't want any damage, so let's keep it that way after your problems that you had, but good luck the rest of the way. I think we're coming for a restart.
Yeah, 10-4.
That's the driver, Brian Littleton. Again, guys, had problems about 30 laps to go. Hey, fell off the bike. Chris Dunn cleaned off the shin his knees, got back on. He keeps on rolling. He's in the top 5 as we come back for green in a moment.
Absolutely. He's worked himself back up into the 4th spot after pit stops. He's had the car to beat at the early stages of the race before getting caught up with the lap traffic and Chris Mefford. Chris Lawrence, pit stops has kind of shook up things just a little bit. Littleton's found himself back in the top 5, as has Steve Baker. It's going to be fun to watch here once we get back going.
I would have to agree with you, Chris Nunn. In fact, I would have to stand on a limb here and go, Middleton is going to be my guy to watch the rest of the night, because the way he has been able to rally, come back to the back, and come back to the front has been impressive, even with a little bit of damage he's got. So it's going to be really interesting. And I'm also going to kind of keep an eye on Tyler, the 82. He's back, got some fresh rubber. We'll see maybe if he's been playing strategy, see if he can maybe battle back up to the front.
Yeah, Tyler Hilton has worked his way up, and Wesley Outland has got a guest as well.
Hey, I got John Wimbush. And John, I love Cheerwine, bud. How's that 56 car tonight? I went to the store, got me a 12-pack. I'm loving it before we got started with the race tonight. You got took it out. Not if you're doing it in Martinsville last week, but really looking good, man, as we let you get ready to go back to green. You're back for green. Fly, guys, back up to the tower.
All right. Back underway here at Darlington. Working lap number 102, Matthew McMeekin takes the lead. Travis Smith behind him. Then it's Littleton. He's got that 3rd spot away. He got around Wimbush there on the start as they roll down the back straightaway. Got a slow car there. It's couldn't quite tell who that was. Slow car there on the bottom of the racetrack, but he has now moved out of the way. So we're going to stay clean and green as we roll down here under the lights at the Darlington Raceway. And Wesley, we mentioned earlier, I'll take it back to you, Wesley. Nighttime comes along, the faster the track gets. How's it going to affect the rest of this race?
Hey, what's that song go? All of the lights. It's looking really good. The Kanye West, song that's Rihanna jam. All of the lights. The lights are on here around Darlington Raceway, virtual style. Looking really, really good. We've got about 40-plus laps remaining here at this event at Darlington. I am so impressed with my buddy Ka-chow! Travis Smith, Lightning McQueen car. McMeekin, what a struggle for him last week. He's looking good in the 4 car. Littleton, we just spoke with. Wimbush, Baker, pick your poison here at Darlington in the Palmetto State. We got one heck of a finish coming up here at Darlington tonight.
Matthew McMeekin led 4 laps last week, ultimately finished 1 lap down in 14th position, so he knows how to run up front. Travis Smith out front. Matthew McMeekin now back to 2nd.
Cody Terry making a move on Steve.
There you go. You got that one. Cody Terry trying to look underneath Steve Baker. Could not quite make that move. Tyler Hilton now going to look to the inside of Cody Terry. That's the battle for 6th. Terry now looks to the inside. He'll try to park it low as they come out of turn number 3 and 4. And Hilton's going to have to just park it back and hide. And Blount going at it behind them. Blount or Hyde now going to go around Hilton for the 7th spot. Chris, great racing back here for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Very good. I've noticed a pattern going on here is that going into 1, they're really getting a good hard push with the draft, and they really have to check up for the car in front of them. That's starting to kill their speed on the exit of 2. But it's really interesting to see how Tyler was able to save it because he got real loose and walked up the racetrack, was able to man it down there to let a couple cars pass as he tried to recollect his head now.
All right, Tyler Hilton currently sitting in that 8th position, Blount 9th. Damon Cox in 10th. Damon Cox, the last car on the lead lap. We got the lucky dog earlier on in that last caution, so that put him back on the lead lap. 2 laps down, Doug Wysocki in 11th, Tom Quattlebaum Jr. 12th, Chris Mefford 13th, Dustin Ping 14th, and that's how they run throughout the top 14 as we are working lap number 108. Here.
Oh, as the battle for the lead heats up, Brian Littleton flies into the wall a little bit, and the 4 happened to hit 95. And here goes Steve in the 56 all around. Oh, here's a big wreck in the front stretch.
Steve Baker and Travis Smith going around here on the back straightaway. Caution is gonna fly. Wesley Outland carnage as you were walking through pit road as we stay green, it looks like. Wesley, what you got for us?
Oh my goodness, I just literally spoke to Travis Smith. I said, hey buddy, ka-chow, how's it looking? He said, busy, but we're ready to bring this to the finish. And then all of a sudden, you've got Littleton and Wimbush and McMeekin and all them making contact, and then all of a sudden I heard was WTF. That's all I'm gonna say.
You don't want to repeat that one. And I don't know how we stayed green there. That was carnage. We'll take a look at the instant replay. Littleton hit the wall there. Smith got crossed up. So did McMeekin. Baker off the wall into Smith. And I don't know how we stayed green there.
Chris, it all started from the contact. The four hit him just a little bit on the 95 of the fifth chow. And all that chain reaction happened. But I'm telling you, the guy that's really lucky right now is John Wimbush. He has walked away from the field.
Yeah, John Wimbush, the lucky benefactor there, as he is currently sitting with a very good advantage, 2.5 seconds back to Cody Terry. Then it's 4 seconds back to Matthew McMeekin. Roy Hyde currently sitting in the 4th spot. Eric Blount now 5th. Tyler Hilton 6th. Damon Cox 7th. Brian Littleton 8th. Steve Baker 8th. Travis Smith is now 10th. And man, what a rough go of it for your lead pack there, as everything just got reshuffled. It's a brand new race. As Wesley Outland, down to you.
Hey, it's time to go through the field as we are coming up on lap 112 of 147. Let's look at the man in the front right now, John Wimbush. Crew happy with the cheerwine machine, especially after the devastation at Martinsville last week while in second position, took him out. He's doing exactly what he needs to do, and he's pulling away from Cody Terry. And how about Cody Terry in car number 22? He sits in the number 2 position right now, the Carolina native doing everything he needs to do to make some type of an upset victory take place. Look at also Matthew McMeekin. What another turnaround for the driver of the number 4 car. He's 4.5 seconds back. The Virginia native is in 3rd. The 4 car is strong. And look at Roy Hyde right behind him right now in 5th position or 4th position. The 00 looking strong as well. Bounced off the wall earlier tonight, gentlemen, but he's done a phenomenal job hitting his line and ready to make something happen here to pounce in the end. 5th place, Eric Blount. He had problems earlier in the race in the car number 6 machine. He said, Wesley, I kind of zigged when I should have zagged, but now I'm back on the straight and narrow. I just do not want to hit the wall. If I hit the wall, I mess up my car, and obviously I blow a tire. He's right now sitting in the 5th position. As we continue to go through the field, in 6th spot, Tyler Hilton, the series founder, the promoter of the Next Gen Challenge Series. Right there earlier led the way. He's sitting there comfortable in the number 82 car, the Carolina native in the number 6 position. Damon Cox right now in car number 57. He's also trying to hold off the likes of Littleton and more lap traffic in front of his way as he moves past him. He's got a strong run for him in the red, white, and blue colors of that number 57. Brian Littleton, who sits now 11 seconds after that little mishap a few moments ago. But how about the other mishap that he had earlier in the race? Bounced off the wall, got damaged, came back, made a quick repair. He's currently in the number 8 position. Watch that 80 car, because I have a feeling with under 30 laps to go, we might see another late race caution flag. Steve Baker now in the 9th position. 20 seconds back to the leader is the interval, but Steve Baker has had his share of ups and downs. So on the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill and struggling. Right now, just contact with the wall of the cars a few moments ago. He has mired back in the number 9 position. And finally, Travis Smith. What a good run for this driver. Just snake bit a few moments ago after contact with Littleton, Baker, and more. He is also now sitting mired in the top 10, but it looked like Lightning McQueen was going to be the car to win here at Darlington. I still think there's a lot more racing left to go. That's your top 10 through the field as we're under 30 laps to go. Chris Dunn at Darlington.
And it is still John Wimbush out front, 4.4 seconds ahead of Matthew McMeekin. Wimbush having a, having the good luck there on that issue between Baker, Smith, Littleton. It's just amazing, Chris Lawrence, how things can change at the snap of a finger. You had Littleton, Baker, and Smith running up front, and now they're mired back in 8th, 9th, and 10th.
it's very interesting. I'm watching John Wimbush. He's starting to run down that 95 as he gets into the wall in 3. We'll see if that possibly touch a tire down. We'll see. But been really impressed of how Roy Hyde has been climbing up. He's now working on 3rd, possibly, maybe looking to get to that 2nd spot.
Roy Hyde trying to creep in on Matthew McMeekin. Roy Hyde has been having a Jekyll and Hyde kind of last couple weeks. But, he's catching up to McMeekin. He's only a second back. Got to keep an eye on that battle. We have 27 laps remaining here at Darlington Raceway, the Lucky Finn Project 200. And I'm going to bring Wesley Outland back up here. Do you think we've seen the end of pit stops?
You know, I know I said during that last sequence of cautions that was the money stop, and I still believe that if this race goes flag to the finish with this interval lead, obviously, of almost 2 seconds that Wimbush has over McMeekin and the rest of the field. I mean, let's be honest, we just went through the field with the top 10. The top 10 are separated by 26 seconds to the leader. But nonetheless, with that said, if we do not have another caution, we go to the finish, I think these cars can go to the checkered flag. But, and that's a big but and an if we get a caution, I think they're coming to the pits road, and we're going to see one wild finish coming up with under 20 laps to go, Chris.
Matthew McMeekin has got that advantage underneath 1 second as he is trying to slowly reel in your leader, John Wimbush, Chris, and he is coming hard.
Yeah, he is. He had the fastest lap last time around, almost by a full second. So we'll see if he's really able to put that pressure on him.
Yeah, he's definitely making his way forward, and you can see him right there down the back straightaway here at Darlington Raceway. He is closing in fast, under 0.5 of a second as they roll out of turn number 3 and 4. Man, Chris, that he's about to get eaten alive as Wimbush as McMeekin now goes to the tail. He'll try to slingshot around into turn number 1, not able to do it. As looks like Wimbush got a good little run there. He was able to put some. He was able to put some space between he and McMeekin. As now we roll down the back straightaway. McMeekin gonna look to the inside of Wimbush for the lead, and he'll take the lead in turn number 3. Good move, Chris. That was a good setup.
It was. I'm assuming that damage possibly has Wimbush probably cut out the ankle. We'll see if he's able to collect it back up and get some. Also, another man on the moves, Roy. Again, in that 00, he's been consistently marching to the front, getting a little faster than Wimbush. I'm thinking that damage on Wimbush's car is slightly starting to hold him up a little bit. As 3 and 4 are making slight progress with the lap times that they're now producing right now. But we'll see how that ends up.
Now we got a car around. It is Damon Cox. And we're going to see if we stay green still. And yeah, look out. I have no clue.
Oh, yeah, throwing a caution now.
Caution is out. As we're going to see what happened here with Damon Cox. As, Littleton. He and Littleton got into it. Man, Littleton is just, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant. And tonight, he's been the hydrant.
Man, I feel bad for Brian, Chris. You've named it. I mean, he's had a really rough night. He has been in contact 3 times with other people's wrecks. I don't know what more he has to do to keep his head clear, but he's been doing a fantastic job all night and just can't go his way.
Did you guys see the save on the 95 of Travis Smith? What a great piece of driving he made to avoid getting collected with Littleton. Wow.
He fit his car through a space you could barely fit a piece of paper through, Wesley. That was amazing.
So, Wes, let me ask you, this is Chris in the booth. Let me ask you, Wesley, what is the odds that we're going to see maybe 2 tires, no tires? What do you think we're going to see on this next round of pit stops? You're thinking this is probably going to be the final one with, what, 20 to go?
20 laps to go. I think everybody's coming to pit road that are on the lead lap. Chris Lawrence, and they are all going to take on tires and fuel. That's my prediction, but we'll see if anybody gambles for just a splash and go and right side tires only. We'll see. It's about to become interesting on pit road.
All right, cars rolling down pit road. Wesley Outland, you're down there. Take it away.
Here they go. They got to make sure they're not at that speeding on pit road. First off, when they hit that box, the iRacing penalties, same as in reality. As they go to the front straightaway here, Mick Meakin, money stop time, Wimbush is in. So is everyone else that I said. Hi, Terry, Blunt, Hilton Baker, Littleton, Smith, Cox and a Partridge and a Pear Tree, all ready to come in for service. Let's see what they'll do. Right now, let's look at McMeekin, the number 4 car. He has been the fastest car on and off of pit road at pit stall number 1. Let's see what McMeekin can do in the number 4 car. Everyone else, are they going to take on right side tires? It looks like right side tires are going on. McMeekin, I think he took right side tires only. He has worn out, but someone else gets out ahead of him. McMeekin on pit road first, exits first. Everyone else off the exit of Hyde, Wimbush, and more. Gentlemen, 4 tires and fuel, they're ready to bring this thing to the house in overtime if need be.
All right, we're going to take a break here and hopefully come back and go to the finish here on LSR TV. You're watching the Lucky Finn Project 200. We'll be back in a moment.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. It is the Lucky Finn Project 200, brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing. Lucky Finn Project. It is the Mission 22 by Blackhawk Motorsports, Hilton Designs, LSR TV, iRacing at Darlington Raceway, the Race X Next Gen Series. Matthew McMeekin had a great pit stop. He's found himself back up front. But how about Roy Hyde? He has himself, just like last week, found himself back up into the 2nd position, and Wesley Outland's got some news on a driver we haven't talked much about today.
Hey, so we were just talking about Eric Blunt in the blue car. It looks kind of like the old Mark Martin Viagra colors. He says, hey, I'm up. I'm in the top 5. I'm excited. I'm following my friend Matthew McMeekin. McMeekin is also in that box there in their channel. They're both talking strategy. They're trying to figure out a way to bring that 6 car to the front, hook up with Matthew, and bring this race to the house. So again, they're up in the top 5, and they're ready to bring this to the finish.
All right, now Wesley, I'm gonna ask you this question again. Matthew McMeekin, he said he possibly only took right sides only.
Yes, I'm going to find out there real quickly for clarification before we come back to green. Stand by.
All right, Wesley's going to find out exactly Matthew McMeekin's pit stop strategy there. Roy Hyde in the 2nd spot, Wimbush 3rd, Blount 4th, Tyler Hilton in the 5th spot. It's Baker, Terry, Cox, Smith, and Littleton back on pit lane.
Hey, Chris, all 4 tires on McMeekin, so everybody that pitted took 4 tires and fuel. This should be interesting.
All right, so McMeekin, 4 fresh tires, and Roy Hyde finding himself back in that 2nd spot. That's where he finished last week. You know, Roy sits back there, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Then all of a sudden, boom, right there at the end of the race, he's up in 2nd. His strategy, and it's crazy how Roy just sneaks up there and finds himself, in the top 3, Chris. It's good.
Yeah, it is, Chris. And, like we were noted earlier, in the earlier run of Wimbush's run, he was knocking a little bit on the wall. So I'm sure he probably sat a little bit, probably 3 or 4 seconds, got a little bit of that damage, let that crew really do some wrenches and hammers on that car and make it probably a little quicker. That's probably how it really got around him. But it's going to be interesting the last couple of races. You got Steve Brown back up there again. You got Tyler right there sitting in the 5th spot. It's going to be really entertaining with these last 15 laps to see what really happens.
All right, drivers getting lined up. Matthew McMeekin still out front. Roy Hyde in that 2nd spot. So We'll see what happens here. We have got 16 laps remaining here at the Darlington Raceway in the Lucky Finn Project 200. Last week we went overtime, 204 official laps. Of the 200 we were scheduled to run. Matthew McMeekin, the field belongs to him. As the iRacing pace truck pulls off the speedway, Barney the flagman waves the green flag. We are back underway here at Darlington Raceway. And Chris, wow, what a good jump that McMeekin got there.
He did get a really good jump, but this is also, the draft game is going to play into effect now, because we'll see how fast these drivers catch him and if they might freight train him on the backstretch. But I don't think it's going to happen. They'll probably, the move's going to be on the front. But as we have Tyler now working really hard on that 6 car going into 3 and 4, it looks like he's going to get the spot. Back to you, Chris, going down the front stretch.
Tyler Hilton trying to make that run as Wesley Outland, you're walking down through pit road, getting a couple of the last minute words. What you got for us?
Hey, Roy Hyde, 00, just checked in on his broadcast channel with the crew. They said it's time to go. It's go time. Let's give it all we got tonight here at Darlington. We'll see what the 00 can do. He's right there in second.
Less than a second separate first through fourth. It's McMeekin, then 0.2 of a second back to Roy Hyde. Wimbish back there as well, 0.5 back. Top 4 cars run nose to tail as we go down the back straightaway. Into turn number 3 and 4. As the gap, that was Darlington confuses me with this different. You remember a few years ago they switched the front stretch and the back stretch, and everything got thrown into a wrench. They did the same with Phoenix as well. We roll out of turn number 3 and 4. Down the front straightaway, Chris Hyde trying to make a move. He's got a run down the front stretch.
But the man I'm watching, Chris, is Tyler. He is consistently stepping on this guy. He's probably pulled those belts that last caution and went, it is go time, boys, as he is working on Winbush coming into 2.
And now Winbush trying to hold off Hilton. And this is a good race here between the top 4. McMeekin, though, he has got Hyde right on his tail as we roll out of turn number 3 and 4. Down the front straightaway. 0.2 of a second is the gap between McMeekin and Hyde. Hyde trying to set up McMeekin for some kind of a slingshot move, maybe. We're going to see exactly what happens here as we roll down the back straightaway. Gap still 0.1 of a second, then 0.9 back to Wimbish in the 3rd spot. Coming up on 10 to go. Man, Hyde is just doing everything he can to try to find a way around McMeekin. Chris, if you're in the driver's seat, what do you do?
Well, I think you just have to kind of wait for the 4 and just put pressure, see if you can maybe get that front nose of that Chevy underneath that Mustang and maybe get some turbulence. And maybe, I wouldn't say bump and run here, but if you can get enough turbulence of that Camaro underneath that Ford, he's not going to have a choice to lift. And he's going to get loose, and he's going to the wall. So he's going to have to find a way to get around him, as it looks like 00 got a little loose off the Ford.
Yeah, that's definitely going to affect things. Hyde now drops back to about 0.4 of a second behind your leader, McMeekin. As man, that could have been a bobble that cost him a chance at the win. As we roll down the back straightaway, just on McMeekin, Hyde, Wimbish, Hilton, and Blount. Your top 5 laps are clicking down. Here at the Darlington Raceway here in the Lucky Finn Project 200. The Next Gen Series brought to you by Race X. Nothing's changed here in the top 4. Roy Hyde still, he's caught up to him again though. Chris, that bobble might not have hurt him at all. He's right there on his tail.
It has not hurt him at all, Chris, as I've been watching him as the telemetries and everything lining up. He has been consistently faster the last 3 turns. As he made that mess up, he came back to the next turn and he was faster in the next section. As he's really putting the pressure on that 4 car. Matthew's really looking at that mirror going, oh man, this is going to be a rough race here. So we'll see what happens. Roy is really on him.
Wesley Outland, what you got for us?
Roy Hyde, the crew there at Dirty Air Racing just a moment ago, they said we bounced off the wall, came very, very close, checked everything, everything's good, car's fast, dust yourself off, go again. That's exactly what he's doing. He's ready to win this thing.
He is ready to rock and roll here, coming down the front straightaway. He is wearing out the rear end of Matthew McMeekin, trying to find a way to get around him for the lead. Less than 10 to go here at the Darlington Raceway. You can see the battle for the lead, nose to tail, out of turn number 1 and 2. trying to keep an eye on lap times here as we continue to roll here at Darlington.
And Chris, let's not forget, the battle for third, fourth, and fifth is starting to heat back up as Eric Blunt has been able to pull off those back tires where he got a little swirly coming off the turn, and it looks like he is now starting to be able to put a run back together to possibly catch Tyler and Winbush in this 82 and 56, as Tyler's really putting the pressure on this 56. Wait, no, as he bumps the wall coming off of 2.
Wow, tough break for Roy Hyde. Hit the wall, slides up. That could have been the end of it right there as he falls back to almost a second back. We'll see if he can gather it up. He's only got 5 or 6 laps left to do it.
That wasn't Roy, that was Tyler.
Oh, that was Tyler Hilton, excuse me. The cars almost look the same. They get that gray tint to them. Roy Hyde's only 0.2 of a second back from McMeekin. That's my apologies right there. So there's the battle for the lead right there. So sorry to alarm you, Roy Hyde fans. Those cars look almost the same back there in the gray tint. So, Chris, I'm glad you were keeping attention there.
Yeah, it looks like to me, it looks like Roy is just starting to try to just back off, put a little pressure on Matthew, let Matthew use up a little of that rubber, cool off those tires one more time, and try to get a good run into the last couple of laps as they wind down. We've got, 3 to go now? So it's almost time where he's going to go, okay, we got to drop the hammer now, or we're just going to have to sit here and ride.
As they roll, lap 144 is
going in the 145 right now as we go. 144 completing the books here at Darlington.
Now the gap drops to 0.7 of a second as we roll. Matthew McMeekin, he's had the car to beat for most of the evening. Roy Hyde still back there as that gap starts to go, and may think that McMeekin was trying to hold something back, and he's just put it in gear. And Chris, do you think McMeekin might have been holding something back?
It's possible, but like Roy told us, Wesley told us, and Roy's crew said, they didn't hit the wall. They thought everything was good. They might have pushed it a little too hard and have a little more rubber than they thought they did. So we'll see if he can get it back together. But as I've been looking the last couple of laps, Matthew has hit the gas, threw the anchor out the window, and goes, it's time to go for the Navy. Let's go.
Indeed, Matthew McMeekin closing in. Roy Hyde still back there in that second spot. Wesley Outland is getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah, it looks like the way I've been looking.
Hyde's lost handling, guys. Hyde's lost handling the 00 car. That's what's going on with him. White flag.
All right, white flag in here. Final time around. Matthew McMeekin steady out of turns number 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway for the final time here at Darlington Raceway. Barring the ground opening up and swallowing him whole, he's going to end up picking up the win here at Darlington Raceway. He's going to take the win in the Lucky Finn Project 200. Matthew McMeekin takes the checkers. Further on back, Roy Hyde takes that second spot. John Wimbush third, Tyler Hilton fourth, Eric Blount rounding out the top 5. Man, I tell you what, Chris Lawrence McMeekin, he hit the afterburners there in those last 5 laps.
Yeah, he was consistently half a second faster a lap. So it was really interesting to see how that was going on. He was gaining 0.3 on the first 2 turns, 0.2 on the last 2 turns. He was just, like I said earlier, he threw the anchor out the window and went full sails away.
All right, we're going to take our final break here and come back with Victory Lane here at Darlington Raceway, the Lucky Finn Project 200, the Race X Next Gen Series here on LSR TV.
They say everything is bigger. These guys down in Texas aren't messing around. This feature race will separate the boys from the men, the girls from the ladies. Can you handle racing 300 laps for $25,000? It's not as easy as you think. We don't stop to tow those too weak. We just push them out of the way. We don't run 20 laps. We run 300 each night. We don't care about what you and your boys have under the hood. Bring all you got. Don't be scared. Call my Cowboy Jack today to get signed up. It all goes down on October 2nd and 3rd in Mesquite, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Kenny Wallace is coming back this year to try again. You don't have excuses. Go to LoneStar600.com now.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Back at the Darlington Raceway, Chris Knott along with Chris Lawrence and Wesley Outland, the Race X Next Gen Series Lucky Finn Project 200, and we had an exciting one there at the end. And after it was all said and done, it was Matthew McMeekin hitting the afterburners and picking up the win. We're going to take a look at your full field rundown. Matthew McMeekin picking up the win. Roy Hyde coming home in the 2nd spot. John Wimbish runs 3rd. Tyler Hilton coming home in the 4th spot. 5th place goes to Eric Blount. 6th place to Cody Terry. 7th place goes to Travis Smith. Damon Cox rounds out the 8th position. 9th place goes to Brian Littleton. 10th place goes to Steve Baker. 1 lap down in 11th was Tom Quattlebaum Jr. 11 laps down in 12th, Chris Mefford. 17 laps down in 13th, Doug Wysocki. Dustin Ping, 14th, 36 laps down. 57 laps down, Ray Radford in 15th. Brian Snare, 16th position, 79 laps down. Josh Cottle, 17th position, 106 laps down. Chris Canfield in 18th place, 131 laps down. 19th position goes to Cade Green, 133 laps down. Brian Miskell Jr., 20th. Brian Britt, 21st. Chris Wood not able to make the call for this one. And in victory lane, we have got Matthew McMeekin. Man, I'll tell you what, Matthew, you absolutely hit the afterburners in the last 10 laps. Were you saving something for those last 10 laps?
To be honest, I was being very gentle and ginger with the car tonight. I didn't want to overheat my tires. I took my time. I had some patience, and I obviously had to set up the long run setup, so I knew that was an advantage. And every time, Travis early in the race I'd let him go. And then I knew I was going to catch him 5 or 10 laps later. So really happy with the car. I did a little homework, and I worked on it this afternoon, and it obviously paid off.
I said you got to be extremely happy with how this car ran throughout the evening. Earlier on, the leaders, Smith and those guys, Baker, Littleton, they kept getting caught up in incidents, with each other. Did that play a factor in your race strategy as well, or you weren't worried about them, were you?
Well, actually, at the beginning of the race, I'm the guy who brought up the first caution because I was on the outside line in 6th, and I was half throttle, and the car turned around on me, and I felt a little embarrassed because I knew I had a good car underneath me, and I couldn't figure out why or what happened. And I'm sure that I helped collect a couple of cars behind me, and I just put it behind me, and I was the end of the longest line. I got the car fixed, I put new tires on it, and I just pushed ahead. And I guess the little damage that I had didn't really affect me too much, and I was able to persevere after a stumble at lap 1.
And I know you got a lot of people you want to give thanks to.
Yeah, my team, HRL Motorsports, Eric, of course, my teammate. We've been working together for a couple months now, and we're driving, and we're making sausage, so to speak, and putting good cars underneath us. And I want to thank all the sponsors, of course, and everybody in the league. And what a great night.
All right, that is your winner of tonight's Lucky Finn Project 200 here at Darlington Raceway, Matthew McMeekin. Currently staying with second place, Roy Hyde, is Chris Lawrence.
Thanks, Chris. How you doing, Roy? It looks like you had a really strong call around the end of the run as you were able to keep your nose clean for most of the race. How do you feel you finished, and how do you think your performance was tonight?
Well, I finished bridesmaid once again, but performance throughout the entire, I think I hit just about everything out there but the lottery, I'll be honest. I bounced off the wall a bunch and got in contact with some of their cars and stuff, but other than that, yeah, loosened the crap out of it and drove it sideways and got on to a second place finish.
Yeah, I mean, you were looking pretty good, almost pretty runny as we kept on seeing you slowly march through the field throughout the race. You know, what were you thinking? Do you think you had anything from Matt as you heard his last interview? You know, as you were coming in for this last green flag run to the finish, does it look like you had a really good car and you gave him a really good run?
Yeah, it was a rocket early. I knew he had the mid and long run speed, so I did everything I could to catch him, and I just burned it up a little bit too early before I can get to him. I probably could have moved him, but I'm not going to drive like that, and I try my best not to. So did the best I could clearly, and unfortunately tires gave out before the race laps were over with, and watched him just trying to drive away with it.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but you did a really great job making that Chevy look really good up front all day long. So who do you want to thank for, your lovely night tonight?
Oh, it's 30-year racing. We got a good group of guys, and we're always bouncing setups and stuff off of each other, and we have a lot of fun doing it, and it's a good group of guys to run with. I mean, you guys for putting on the races, and the sponsors for sponsoring the races, and just everybody in general. It's a pretty respectful crowd, which is really, really nice. And I always got to thank the wife because she puts up with the craziness that this old man gets to sit here and play a racing sim online all hours of the day and night.
I think you just spoke for almost every driver in the field in that last statement, sir. But you had a really great car. It looked like you really did great. You brought it home second tonight here at the Darlington Motor Speedway, or Raceway. Forgive me. But back to you, Chris, up in the booth.
All right, going to send it down to Wesley Outland with our third place finisher.
Cheerwine colors, and we're right now having a virtual cheerwine together. You've got one, John Wimbush. I know I've got one as well, and third place podium, but you said, man, I just can't win. Talk about the race tonight.
Yeah, it's just pretty tough to keep a right front on it. I messed the setup up somewhere, and at first run, the car just fell off real bad, so went in and pumped the tires up a lot and put some more tape on the grill, and it did a little bit better, but Matthew was, really fast. So I knew once he got up there, even if we didn't get a caution, I knew he was going to catch me eventually. But just trying to have a good rebound from last week and still finish 8th, but that wasn't where I needed to be. So overall, I'm happy with it. I didn't expect to be, top 4 or 5 car anyway, but just trying to stay out of trouble and avoid everybody else's mess. Some of it you could see coming, and some of it surprised you.
The long green flag sequences that we saw at the beginning of the race, do you think that really hurt the transition of the race as it came to the finish?
I think it did if you missed your setup like I did. If I'd have had, a better setup like Matt did and Roy, these guys, Tyler, seemed like he had a really good 7 long run, and I just couldn't hit it. I was fast, for about the first 10 laps, and if I didn't take care of it, then it was just going to be garbage. But for guys that hit their setup pretty good and not wearing that right front out, that's the main thing here. I think I had too much weight in the front. Both the left and right front tires were just getting real worn out.
Did the transition also from the day to night, did that also affect the car, the handling a lot tonight for you?
Yeah, for me, I think it did. I mean, in the practices I did, trying to make that transition, to me, it seemed like you needed to, make a really big change in the car. So I tried to have mine to where, once it got dark, got a little cooler, be able to be a little bit stronger. And I think it did that. Just, the tires were just the biggest thing, and I didn't do something right there, but happy with third place and drink a little cheer wine here, and we'll be all right.
There you go. Well, that's the thoughts of the driver, John Wimbush, in the 56. Chris Dunn, he'll finish in the 3rd position. And final thoughts of the broadcast here from Too Tough to Tame, Lady in Black, Darlington Raceway. Typical Darlington, a good show, green flag sequence, a crazy finish in the end. Didn't see that, but sheer dominance again by the driver of Matt McMeekin. Flawless on pit road. off pit road, enter first, exit first. He always hit his marks, always had a strong run. Roy Hyde had a good run in his car. I think he made a run there just kind of maybe a little too early and ran out of time, got in the wall, and it cost him there at the end. And, of course, John Wimbush just handling issues, having to settle for a third place. But all in all, a good show as we'll get ready to pack her up and get ready for the next one of the Next Gen Challenge Series here on LSR TV.
Chris Lawrence, your final thoughts.
Well, Chris, it was a great night here at Darlington, and we had some really great drivers, and misfortunes happened for a couple people, but overall, I thought it was a really great race. Really had some really good drivers in the field, and I'm really impressed. How the track was at 81 to 82 degrees when we started, and now it's sitting here at 78 degrees. Didn't change a lot, even though went from daytime to nighttime. I was kind of impressed how well the tires were somewhat able to keep it going on with the way that people were really handling these cars.
And guys, Wesley and Chris, next week it's going to get even better. We're headed to Bristol.
Oh, it's Bristol, baby. That's all I got to say. It's Bristol, baby.
I can't wait to see some beating and banging. We're going to be bringing out that duct tape, the hammers all night long.
That's the drive for CIDP 200 coming up. That'll be next Thursday night. 200 laps under the lights at Bristol. Wesley Outland, what do you got coming up here?
It was fun working with you guys in the pits, but we'll take a quick cat nap break for about an hour or so and join us at about 11:45 Eastern, 10:45 Central Time with coverage of the next round of the Northwestern Truck Series. Greg Rentz, myself will be in the booth on play-by-play, and it should be a great race with the trucks from Auto Club Speedway tonight.
All right, for Chris Lawrence, Wesley Outland, our producer BJ, and Cody Wooten, we are going to bid you adieu from the Darlington Raceway. You have been watching the Lucky Finn Project 200, brought to you by Ohio Indiana Roofing, Lucky Finn Project, Mission 22 by Blackhawk Motorsports, Hilton Designs, LSR TV, iRacing, and the Darlington Raceway. We will see you next week from Bristol. Good night, everybody.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.